Would you like to learn how to make your own custom amiibo, like this Cat Mario here that I made? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do it, but before we get started, there's a few things that you're going to need. So here I have laid out the items you're going to need for this project. First, we have a box cutter, and it needs to be very sharp, preferably new, or at least a new blade. Some type of super glue, goof off wipes, and these are especially important. They're not too expensive. You can pick these up at, I believe, Home Depot for like $3 or $4 for this little bottle here. Then we have a hair dryer, an amiibo that needs to be, brand new with, of course, you're going to want perfect packaging, and then some sort of figure that you're going to make the amiibo into. And for this one, I'm going to be using a World of Nintendo 2.5-inch Goomba figure, but there are many others that you can use. These are just a few of the other World of Nintendo figures that I've purchased to make into custom amiibos. I'll be doing these on my own time at a future date. So the first thing you're going to need to do is take your brand new factory sealed amiibo, and I would recommend choosing an Animal Crossing one because these are the easiest to remove from their base. As you can see, they have very thin legs and small feet that attach to the base. There's no sort of stand or anything with them, and they are just the easiest ones to work with. So I recommend choosing an Animal Crossing amiibo to work with. And of course we have our box cutter here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this from the base. Basically, you want to do as little damage as possible, and what you're going to do is cut under the plastic here, making sure to preserve as much of the backing cardboard as possible while still removing the entire plastic from the amiibo container here. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, so as you can see, we've successfully removed the plastic from the cardboard backing here and only have damage where it was glued down, and this is what you want. You don't want to just rip it off and rip off the whole thing. You don't want this cardboard piece to be damaged at all, because this is what we're going to be using for the backing for our custom amiibo. We're going to be gluing our own artwork on the back here. So some people may have other methods of removing this, but I have read that if you use a hairdryer to try and loosen the glue, you can actually deform this plastic piece, which you definitely do not want to do. So doing it this way and having a little bit of damage here is definitely not too big of a deal, and you definitely want to keep this plastic piece in good condition, so I'd recommend not using a hairdryer. So now that we have this removed, let's move on to the next step. Next, we're going to be removing the actual amiibo from the base here. So first, you're going to pop these two little tabs to open this up. Once again, you want to keep this plastic in very good condition. You're going to slide the amiibo out, and this is up to you, just personal preference. This is the blocker, which blocks the amiibo from being scanned through the package. So for your custom one, you can leave this in or remove it. It's really up to you, but personally, I like to remove them. So set this plastic piece aside. We're going to be using this in our custom amiibo. But for this portion, we need to remove the amiibo from the base. This one is Mabel, and we're going to be removing her using a hairdryer to loosen the glue that attaches her to the base, and then using both our force to pull her out, and then possibly also the box cutter if we need it. So this is a bit of a process using the hairdryer here to remove the amiibo, but I'm going to speed it up so it's quick for you guys, so let's get to it. Okay, so as you can see, we removed her from the base, and unfortunately we've left a little bit of the original plastic in there from her legs, so now we're going to go ahead and try and remove a little bit more of this, and Yeah, we did have to cut her a little bit, so unfortunately there is some stuff left behind here. And you don't have to actually remove this completely. It really just depends on your preference and actually what kind of figure you're planning on putting on here, because you could easily cover this up. It is pretty flush with the base, as you can see, but I'm going to try and clean it up just a little bit more before we move on. Okay, so as you can see, I cleaned it up just a little bit more, just to get it a little more flush with the base here. But with the amiibo that I'll be making and the figure that I'll be putting on here, we are going to be able to cover these up very easily, so I didn't really have to make it perfect. If you want to make it perfect and clean out all that stuff, if you just take your time using the hair dryer and maybe like some needle nose pliers or something you can get down in there, you should be able to get all that plastic out, but for the purpose of this video, it's not really necessary. So now we are ready to attach our figure to the base. So like I said, we're going to be making a Goomba amiibo here. So first, we need to take him out of the packaging. Alright, so here he is, and as you can tell, he's fairly small. And the one thing that's good about these 2.5-inch World of Nintendo figures is that most of them are roughly the same size as an amiibo. As you saw with the Cat Mario earlier, it's about the correct size. Some of them are a little bit smaller, some of them are a little bit bigger, just depending on the character. But you can also use any type of figure that you'd like. You don't have to choose a World of Nintendo figure. You don't even have to choose a Nintendo character. You can pick, if you have maybe a Dragon Ball Z figure or something along those lines, you can basically make an amiibo out of whatever you want. And because we're customizing the back as well, you can pretty much, do whatever you want. You have tons of options, so be very unique if you'd like. So now we're going to attach him to the base. As you can see here, his feet are fairly flat on the bottom, and if we place him onto the base here, he perfectly covers up the holes left from Mabel's feet. So there won't be any issues here with seeing this once it is completed, because he pretty much covers it. You can kind of see a little bit in there. It's not going to show up very well on camera, but in person, if you look very closely, you can barely see it, but his feet down here are so close together that it's not going to be a big issue. So next we're going to break out the super glue and we'll start attaching him to the base. So now that the glue on this guy has dried, he's pretty well attached to the base here, and for myself, I'm making this to put into a sealed package and have a fully customized backing and packaging to it, so if he doesn't have a super secure glue job, it's not really going to matter too much because this isn't a figure that I'm going to be opening up and using, so it should be fine. I did try my best to get a very secure glue job on him though. So now it's time to move on to the next part. So for this part, we're going to be cleaning up the extra cardboard and artwork that is on this little plastic shell that goes over the amiibo. And for that, we're going to be using goof-off wipes. Now, if you guys are into retro games and you like to, clean your games and have your collection look nice, or you're into if you're cleaning any type of video games or honestly anything else, goof-off wipes are a great product to have on hand. These are great for cleaning stuff like this, but also for cleaning your walls or your cabinets or your countertops or anything like that. They work very well. They remove Sharpie like it's nothing, which I've been looking for a product for a while that did something like that, so this is very awesome. I use these all the time for cleaning things that I sell on Amazon and eBay as well. So it's a good product to have, and not only for this project, but just to have anyway. So we're going to be using these to clean off the plastic here, as I said, and these are basically little cloth wipes that have a solution on them. And if you are going to be using these to clean your video games, do not use them on the label. They will take the color right off and turn the labels completely white, so only use this on plastic. So I'm just going to ball it up here, and this is going to take a while, so I'm going to speed the clip up here, but you'll see as we go that it completely removes all this and makes it clear just like the rest of it. So let's get started. as you can see, I've cleaned this side here, and it has completely taken off all of the paper, cardboard, and also any sort of ink or artwork that has been left over. So I'm going to go ahead and clean the other sides of this off camera just to save a little bit of time, and then I will show you guys the next step. So as you can see, I got the whole thing cleaned up here, and if you could kind of tell, the video was a little quick, but if you could tell, I did use my box cutter a bit to help with the process. When you have the thicker paper or cardboard on here, if you put the goof-off wipe over it and let the solution kind of sink in a bit, you can then use the blade of your box cutter to kind of scrape away a lot of that thicker cardboard material, and then once you get it thin enough, you can just use your goof-off wipe and clean it up pretty nice. And I took some regular paper towels here to kind of clean it up, because there is a solution on those goof-off wipes, so you don't want any, leftover liquid. So I cleaned it up a bit, and so now we're ready to move on to the next step, which is going to be modifying this plastic piece to actually hold the Amiibo. And of course it's molded on the back here to hold the original Amiibo, but all the bases are the same, so this guy will just slide right in here, but as you can see, it will not close. So we're going to cut some of these back pieces here in order to hold the Goomba Amiibo in here. And I did the same thing for my Cat Mario, which took a little bit more. I think this one's going to be fairly simple, because he is the same basic shape here with the the same rounded shape of Mabel. So we're just going to have to cut a bit down here to make it fit, and I think it'll work out very well with this particular setup. So let's go ahead and start modifying this plastic piece. Okay, so as you can see, I've just cut a few little pieces of plastic off here to make it fit, and of course it's not perfect since this piece of plastic is not molded for the Goomba, but at this point I've cut enough pieces of plastic away that it's not pushing on the figure, so there's no risk of him coming unglued because he's being pushed by the plastic. So it is touching a little bit, but as you can see, it has closed, and these two snaps have snapped together perfectly fine. So from this point, we are going to put him back into this original piece here. We just take the little cardboard Amiibo thing that we saved from the beginning, slip that back in there, then you're going to go ahead and put him in just like that. And I'm actually going to take him back out of here off camera, because I do want to make sure that there's no random hairs or anything like that that are stuck inside here. Since this, at least in my case, will not be opened, I want to make sure that it's perfectly cleaned out inside. But this is essentially what it's going to look like until we glue it onto the backing. So this next step is the only one that's going to require a lot of skill, and this is the Photoshop step. And I'm not going to show you guys exactly how to use Photoshop. That would take way too long, and that's for another video. So if you're not skilled enough with Photoshop to do this, there are other programs you can use, including a couple browser-based ones that if you just do a couple Google searches, you should be able to find something. But for this step, I used a template created by Mr. Alex from DeviantArt, and there will be a link to the download for that template in the description of this video. It'll take you right there, and up in the right-hand corner, there is the download link for it. If you read the comments there as well, people do mention some other software that you can use, including the browser-based ones, which I've never used, but I'm sure are pretty self-explanatory. And Mr. Alex has set up the template to be extremely easy to use, even if you have minimal Photoshop skills. Everything is set up nicely in layers and folders and all that, so it's really easy to go through and figure out what you're doing. And basically, I used that template, and I used Photoshop CS6 to come up with this template here for the backing for the Goomba Amiibo that we're making in this video. And I also have a couple other ones here that I have made. This is the Cat Mario one that you guys saw at the beginning, and I'll be showing you guys that amiibo as well as the Goomba one at the end of this video. But this is what that one looks like. And then I also made up a Deku Link one that I'm going to be making in the future on my own time. This is just for another amiibo that I'll be doing. So basically all you do is you customize the Photoshop template into whatever you need it to look like, and you can change it. You know, everything is completely customizable to fit your needs, to however you'd like to do it. And then you can print it at home if you have the capabilities to, but for me, I only have a black and white printer. So what I did is I took a flash drive with my files on it, and I went to Office Depot or Office Max. Either one I think works. You can also go to places like Kinko's or any other sort of little print shop that you have in your area. And basically, they were super cheap to print. I think a full color print is like 59 cents. And then the 100-pound gloss paper that I got them printed on was 29 cents, I believe. So under $1 each to get them printed. And so the paper is a little bit glossy, and it really matches the official backing that Nintendo made, and I wanted to make it look very similar to look as realistic as possible. So I believe this is called the 100-pound gloss. I'm not exactly sure, but it's basically a really thick paper, almost like a cardstock, and it does have a bit of a shine to it, as you guys can see. So it looks very nice, and if you can afford and you have the locations close to you, I would recommend getting it printed professionally. Most home printers are not going to be able to print such a high quality like this. It's probably not going to show up too well on video, but around the Mario you can even see the little fibers in his fur and everything. So it's a very high quality print. The template is very large and the dimensions are exact, so it should print out exactly like this, which is very nice. So now let's move on to the next step. So now that we've got our artwork printed, basically we need to cut it out, and it should be the right dimensions if you've printed it directly from the template. But just to make sure, we're going to take our original backing here and just place it over it just to match it up and just to make sure that it looks right, as this one does. And I actually took this with me to Office Depot when I got mine printed so that I could check before I came home and figured out that they were the wrong size. So basically what you're going to want to do is cut it out to perfectly match up with this one, and you're going to have to cut out this little hole as well if you want. You can leave it covered if you'd like, but I hang mine using the hole on here, so I'm going to be cutting that out. And just to warn you guys, cutting this out and making it exact, and especially cutting out that little hole there, is the hardest part of this entire process. And unless you can make some sort of stamp to cut this hole out in one shot, most likely it's going to look a little bit rough. But if you use an X-Acto knife or your box cutter, or you're really careful with your scissor cuts, you can make it look pretty good. So don't be discouraged if it comes out looking a little bit choppy, because mine do as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off camera, and then I will join back up to show how to glue it on to the backing here. Alright, so now I've got it cut out, and the edges I think look pretty good, but if I show a close-up of the cutout here, you can see it's kind of rough, and unfortunately that's just the best that I'm able to get it using scissors and a box cutter. So not perfect, but from far away it still looks pretty good, and it matches up very nicely with the backing, as you can see. So now at this point we're going to go ahead and glue it down. So we're going to use the same glue that we used last time, and on the actual packaging for this glue it does say, I've got it right here, it says wood, metal, leather, rubber, paper, ceramic, and plastics. So it's kind of an all-purpose super glue, and it'll work on everything that you need it to for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little time lapse of this as well and get this glued on here. Okay, so I've got it glued on here, and if you don't line it up 100% perfect, it's not that big of a deal. as long as it covers the backing and you can't see like a corner poking through or anything like that, you're pretty much good to go. And of course, you can make a custom backing if you'd like as well. I don't for mine because mine are displayed on the wall, hung by a thumbtack just like that, so you're never going to see the back anyway. Plus, if you leave the back how it is, it shows right here a picture of Mabel, since this was originally a Mabel amiibo. So that will kind of tell anyone, obviously I know what I made it from, but anyone else, it'll tell them what the amiibo is going to register as, because obviously it's not going to register as a Goomba, it's going to register as Mabel. So you can leave the back how it is if you want, or you can customize it. The only thing is, I do not know of a template for the back. So you'd have to fully customize it if you wanted to do that. And that's completely up to you guys. So from this point, all we're going to do is glue this guy onto the front here. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I've gotten him on there, and now I'm going to use a paper towel to push down around the edges here to not only get a secure seal, but also to wipe away any excess glue that might pop out. And you know, a little bit is gonna come out, but usually dries clear, so it's not that big of an issue. You guys can also, of course, experiment with different glues. Maybe some will have a different effect. What I've noticed with both this one and the Mario that I did, it kind of discolors the artwork a little bit around the edges where it's glued on. But this is pretty much good to go. It's almost an instant dry, so we don't have to wait too long. It's still a little bit wet underneath there, but give it a little bit of time and it'll dry. But essentially, it's done as is. So yeah, this is what it looks like, and it looks pretty freaking cool. And like I said, you can do this with pretty much any figures you guys want. However, I do recommend the 2.5-inch World of Nintendo figures, which you can get from Walmart. They usually have them up by the registers where the candy is and stuff like that. And yeah, they're about the perfect size. So feel free to experiment and kind of run wild with this and make some awesome custom amiibos. So now that we've got the Goomba here finished, I'm going to put it side by side with the Cat Mario, and I've customized the backing here to kind of be from a Mario 3D World kind of set. So they're both customized like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at both of them. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that some of you guys out there can try this and can make your own customized amiibos. And I know that some people will actually take an existing amiibo and they will add clay to it and paint it and do all that kind of stuff. And that is one way to customize them. But if you'd like a brand new looking amiibo, not based off an original design, this is a great way to do that. Just taking an existing figure that they don't have an amiibo of, or maybe a version of an amiibo that doesn't exist. You can make a Fireball Mario, for example, with the white cap and everything. So there's lots of options out there. You don't have to stick to just Nintendo characters or just Pokemon. Like I said, you can find Dragon Ball Z figures, or Powerpuff Girl figures, or Naruto figures, or whatever you'd like, and you can make your own custom amiibo. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and like the video, and leave some comments down below. What did you think of the tutorial? Was it helpful? If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them the best that I can. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.